I am here at my friend Nevio Kramerstedter's antique shop in Rome. These prints aren't mere decorations, they are time machines. Today, we'll explore the Lateran complex as it appeared in 1694 through Domenico de Rossi's rare engraving. In 1694, Pope Innocenzo XII prepared for the Jubilee of the 1700. At the center of de Rossi's print stands the Basilica of San Giovanni in Laterano, honored with the title Madre e Capo di tutte le chiese della città e del mondo, Mother and Head of all churches of the city and the world, as inscribed here. The ancient Lateran Patriarchate, which includes the oldest basilica in Christianity, San Giovanni in Laterano, was founded by the will of Emperor Costantino on pre-16 building complexes. It was the main seat of the popes until 1309, the year in which the papal seat was transferred to Avignon, France, until 1377. Today, only the baptistry, featured in my Secret of Rome's Sacred Gateway video, remains from the original complex, demolished and rebuilt by Domenico Fontana architect under Pope Sixtus V in 1585. De Rossi captured Sixtus' redesign with Baroque additions. Remarkably, from his viewpoint, the layout remains virtually unchanged today. De Rossi framed this view from the ruins of Nero's Aqueduct at Via Merulana's corner, a straight road built by Pope Gregorio XIII to connect San Giovanni Laterano with the Santa Maria Maggiore. Before him, Flemish artist Leuven Cruyl used this same vantage in 1666. Note Cruyll's engraved vivid details. A man smoking a long pipe, with smoke swirls. The artist sketching at his board. His signature on roof tiles. A tavern, osteria, later demolished during 19th century expansions. Key architectural elements identical in both prints: hospital, baptistry, basilica's lateral facade, obelisk with fountain, Lateran palace, holy stairs. Cruyl created two other Lateran's views, one showing the aqueduct's full arches and Via Merulana's start, another depicting Pope Innocenzo X's procession from St. Peter's. De Rossi perspective differs from Giuseppe Vasi and Piranesi's famous views, taken from Via Papalis, the ancient papal procession route I explored in my Shocking Truth Behind Colosseum's History video. One papal procession is represented in one of the views of Cruyll's I mentioned before. Now let's dissect De Rossi's representation. Holy Stairs Complex, built by Sixtus V and his architect Domenico Fontana, houses stairs traditionally climbed by Christ before Pontius Pilatus' interrogation. The ghost apse, Leo III's triclinium. This distant apse is all the remain of Pope Leo III's 9th century dining hall, modeled on Constantinople's imperial palace. It contained the accubita, reclining dining couches, evoking classical Rome dining rooms. Still in its original position here, it would be moved in 1745 by Ferdinando Fuga architect for Pope Benedict XIV in the today position. Lateran Palace. Domenico Fontana demolished the medieval patriarchal for this structure. Compare with Van Heemskerk's 1536 view. Only the Basilica's lateral facade remains, later modified by Sixtus V, who added the Benediction Loggia, replacing Bonifacio VIII's 1300 version. The equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius, Emperor, represented in the Van Heemskerk's view, that was in its original position at the Lateran, was already relocated by Michelangelo to the center of the Campidoglio square, which he designed. Obelisk and Borghese fountain. The world's tallest standing Egyptian obelisk, original weight 413 tons, now 300 tons after damage. The obelisk was made around 1400 BC in Karnak, Egypt, during the reigns of pharaohs Thutmose III and Thutmose IV. Roman Emperor Constantino I had it moved to Alexandria in the early 4th century AD. Then Constantius II, in AD 357, had it shipped to Rome and erected at the Circus Maximus. The obelisk collapsed sometimes after the circus's abandonment in the 5th century and was buried under mud. It was dug up and restored in 1588 by the order of Pope Sixtus V, and was topped with a Christian cross and installed in its present location in about the same original position of Marcus Aurelius' statue, with an engineering operation of great commitment and expertise for that time, under the direction of the architect Domenico Fontana. Fountain, added in early 1600 by Pope Paul V Borghese, featuring his family eagle and dragon heraldry, surrounding the papal tiara and keys. The bronze St. John statue atop, visible in Basis's engravings, was removed in 1800. Side facade of the Basilica. Sixtus V's two-level loggia facade, richly frescoed with Sixtus V himself represented in the center, giving a blessing. The facade retained the previous twin bell towers visible in Van Heemskerk's drawing. The ancient Lateran baptistry, the sole survivor of Costantino complex, which I discussed extensively in my video, Secrets of Rome's Sacred Gateway Unveiled. In the early 20th century, an L-shaped building was added connecting it to the Basilica facade. The hospital, founded by the Arciconfraternita del Santissimo Salvatore, 13th century, to venerate the Archeropita icon. Archeropita, from Greek, not painted by human hand, in the Sancta Sanctorum inside the Holy Stairs building described above. The construction began in 1580 under Gregory XIII, completed in 1639 under architects Giacomo Mola and Giovanni Giacomo de Rossi, father of our printmaker. At the time, it contained 120 beds for men, expandable in summer, plus 60 for women in the other building across the street. The architecture. Golden ratio proportions between ground and first floor was used in facade design, which gives the building a sense of harmony in its simplicity. The facade is composed of 13 bays divided by unadorned pilasters. Ornate travertine corner bays, instead, with element of Renaissance architecture, contrast the plain central section. The facade is also characterized by bell gable with clock and adorned door entrance in the middle. The simple and severe character of this building can also be found in France, in a complex with similar functions, La Vieille Charité, 1671-1749 in Marseille, which served as a hospice for the poor, designed by the architect Pierre Puget. Now the old building is part of one of the Rome's largest hospital complex, San Giovanni Addolorata. Excavations in the hospital area have brought to light the important Roman remains, including the domus of Domitia Lucilla, 1st-2nd century AD, mother of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius. The print also includes a minor yet vivid snapshot of daily Roman life. A wine tavern, known as Fraschetta, nestled at the corner of Via Merulana and the Lateran Square. Patrons clutch goblets of wine beneath the shade of an oak tree and a makeshift canopy, where a table is set for service. A repurposed Roman capital serves as improvised seating, echoing the city's layered reuse of antiquity. This same tavern appears in Cruyl's early 1666 engraving. A similar establishment once stood at the base of Nero's Aqueduct arches. Documented in an 1855 photograph and before immortalized in Antoine Jean-Baptiste Thomas' 1823 painting, now at Rome's museum. The entire quadrant of the square, the viewpoint for both De Rossi and Cruyl, underwent radical transformation in the late 19th century. The taverns and vineyards vanished beneath apartment blocks housing clerks of the newly unified Italian kingdom's capital. Let's examine the characteristics of this antique print. It is one of the first prints made from the original plate engraved using the etching technique. Etching is an artistic engraving technique on metal plates that uses the corrosive action of an acid to create images on a plate. The artist etches the design onto the metal surface covered with a protective layer, such as wax, then immerses the plate in acid, which creates grooves by corroding the metal where the wax has been removed. The plate covered with ink is then transferred to paper using pressure, creating the printed image. The 70 by 100 cm sheet of paper, 27.56 by 39.37 inches, was then glued to canvas and framed. Why own this? Behind historical documentation, it is a tangible fragment of Rome's layering. Click on the link below to acquire this masterpiece from antiquarian Nevio Kramerstetter. Once again with this video, as with the others on my Rome Uncovered channel, we have taken a journey through time, from the ancient Egypt of the pharaohs to the Roman imperial period up to the present day, passing through the medieval patriarchate and the great Renaissance, Baroque and 19th century transformations of Rome. We have examined a snapshot of the process of the transformation and stratification represented by De Rossi's 1694 print. Subscribe for our next exploration, a rare Aventine Hill vista revealing Rome's forgotten skyline.